I came home from spring break and I realized that some of my friends who already knew the outcome of their semesters were also getting updates on changes in their grading policy. And once I recognized that we wouldn't be going home for spring break, I was looking for our university to do the same. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. So I reached out to some people who I know are passionate about this type of work and passionate about these types of policies. And we got a team together to start figuring out what we wanted, what we expected of our university.
We believe that campus is an academic equalizer. We have the same access to the same reliable and speedy Wi-Fi, same access to the quiet study spaces we have available on campus within walking distance, but when we are taken away from campus and put in our vastly different circumstances in our home environments, we no longer have that equalizer.
We started with a Facebook page. From that Facebook page, we were able to launch our petition that has over 2,000 signatures.
We started an educational campaign to tell our peers, what is UP? What does it advocate for? What does it not advocate for?
I heard about No Fail Yale, I think the morning after it was brainstormed, or the morning after it was conceived. I woke up, I was looking at Instagram and Facebook, and I saw a couple of posts asking for a universal pass system, and I was like, what is this? What could this possibly mean? Is this a good idea? And so I texted a couple of people, I read the materials, and I decided that yes, this was absolutely the right thing to do.
In conjunction, we partnered with organizations like FLY, RSA, ISO, and created a coalition of political and cultural organizations.
I made a couple of graphics to represent our residential college polling that was in support of UP. And then I did a lot of student outreach. So I posted on my personal social media, Facebook and Instagram mostly. We refined the policy with our extensive frequently asked questions list.
And then our second phase was to email professors, Dean Chun, DUSs, everyone in a position of authority to say, I advocate for UP and this is why I advocate for it. And this mainly came out after the Dean Chun email that said, we've received equal responses on both sides, which we knew was not true. So we started that campaign.
So as the movement started to gain more traction, we thought it was important to gain more input from the student body. So we ultimately worked with the faculty as well as some students to put together a survey that was sent out a couple of weeks after the movement had initially started.
In the survey that went out last weekend, we got 68% of undergraduate students to support a universal pass policy. Yale is unique in seeing such broad student support for a policy like this. I think it really reflects our values and our dedication to community.
My role advocating for the universal pass beyond emailing professors and engagement over social media included leading No Fail Yale's effort to have all residential colleges sign on to a joint statement endorsing a universal pass and also penning the YCC universal pass endorsement statement.
We've experienced some opposition to the universal pass movement, and a couple of their main arguments is, why does it have to be universal? Why can't I opt into the system? Why does it have to be applied to everyone equally? The simple answer is stigma. Graduate schools like Harvard Medical School have already come out to say that they will not accept transcripts that have P's on them unless it was the policy of the university to have a universal pass-fail grading system.
For some students, they believe their time at Yale has been an upward trend, and this was a semester that they were hoping to show themselves and the world that they had finally gotten the hang of things. For others, different scholarship requirements came into play, and graduate school plans were also an issue. And talking to people who disagreed with us, talking to folks who had these problems with our policy, I think was one of the most important things we could have done. From these discussions, we learned, we evolved our approach, we changed our policy to reflect some of these concerns. We reached out to dozens of med schools, grad schools, some scholarship programs to understand how our policy would impact these students.
There were a lot of delays in this process. If I'm remembering right, Dean Chun said, "Thank you for reaching out to me. I'm not making a decision at this time. I'll be announcing something on April 2nd, which was at the time like a week or two away, and it felt so far away. We were like, we've only been talking about this for a week. What do you mean you're delaying this another 2 weeks? I think we were a little bit frustrated.
At the beginning of the meeting, it was assumed that faculty generally, or at least a plurality of faculty, supported an opt-in policy. By the end, the tables had flipped, and a vast majority of the faculty in that meeting supported a universal pass or universal policy.
The email came at 10:17 a.m. this morning. I was asleep. I woke up maybe 10 minutes later, checked my email immediately because I knew we were expecting this and it said Dean Marvin Chun announcement, and I read the first line, and it was like, Yale College will be adopting a universal pass-fail system, and I screamed.
It was also just very inspiring to see how my peers and my friends and my colleagues have come together in this truly unfortunate time to step up for one another.
The No Fail movement at Yale was the first student-led movement in the country advocating for a universal pass system. Our movement has lent inspiration to dozens of schools to start their own No Fail movements.
Yale doesn't always like to lead. Our students are leaders, our faculty are leaders, but our administration seemed concerned to be the first up the block.
That is all to say that for a school that claims to raise leaders and encourages us to step up for our communities in flowery speeches, it doesn't ever seem to set an example for others to turn to. It is always reactive.
I think it's unfortunate that universal pass-fail was inherently a very divisive issue. I think there are still some students on campus that are unhappy with the decisions that have been made by the administration. But I do hope that during this difficult time that we can all come together and find ways to support one another.